Defining Blue Revolution, explain the problems and strategies for pisciculture development in India. Pisciculture is going to be associated with fish farming. And as the topic goes on to include defining Blue Revolution. What is Blue Revolution? That's one part. The problems and strategy. That is all in all a very, very long topic. Of course, it was a 15-mark topic, or it's a 15-mark topic all in all. And when we're going to be talking about strategies for pisciculture development, then it basically goes on to talk about all the components of Blue Revolution. Now, all in all, this topic was extensive, and what the examiner is going to be expecting and UPSC expecting in this case is whether the candidate goes on to know its geographical component or not, one. Second is the scientific component or not. It goes on to be having a good amount of interdisciplinary framework, largely because you cannot go on to talk about Blue Revolution without taking into account zoological considerations and a lot of scientific aspects associated with pisciculture development in the country. And that is going to be something associated with science and technology or ecology and environment. So one expectation will be that candidates will be interdisciplinary. Second will be, of course, the use of the technical terms in this case with respect to pisciculture development. The third is, of course, touching all the aspects, that is the defined definition of the Blue Revolution. And then it's not defined, explain the problems. That means you have to let the examiner know that you understand the problem. That is why it is talking about explanation of the problem and explanation of the strategies for pisciculture development. To begin with, Blue Revolution refers to the time of intense growth of the whole of worldwide aquaculture industry from mid-19 to the present. So it's an era that refers to all the type of efforts that have been taken for the purpose of enhancement of fish culture in the whole of the country. For the success of Blue Revolution, special care is being taken regarding good operating practices in relation to water management, farm management, health management of the fishes and shrimps. The fallout of disease is a major threat, and once disease strikes, one going to do very little about it to prevent disease, except for the fact that they're going to manage it in a manner that is going to be only ameliorative, not exactly curative in that way. So, of course, it goes on to take into account a lot of aspects with respect to feeding and cleaning of the water as well. The problems include, first is, there has been a major zoological degradation owing to increased abstraction of water by industrial and human settlements and wash-off of agricultural pesticides. Zoological degradation is all of this sewage, untreated water finds its way into the water bodies. This is what is going to be taken by the fishes, and it is these fishes that go on to develop an ill health. They're going to become polluted, and it is this polluted fishes that the human beings may go on to eat. So ultimately, all of the biomagnification finds its ultimate destination in the human beings. Second has been, many reservoirs are understocked, unexploited, even not managed. Now, the management will go on to increase the efficiency in this case. So we don't want to talk about they are understocked, unexploited, and not well managed. Third is, sometimes outbreak of major diseases which take place, like spot viral disease, that may go on to damage the growth and the present production. Fourth has been absence of a proper extension network with the laboratory facilities, whereby that is extension network means one is going to be extending through the whole of the country, and that can be found even near to the ponds. Now, near to the ponds, this is a facility that can be availed whereby the laboratories will go on to pick up some water, pick up some fishes, check it, and then keep on suggesting certain things from time to time. Fifth is storage of high quality fish meal for feed. If the fishes don't go on to get proper feed, and they used to be getting proper feed some time back, but now when we are going to be going for an artificial pisciculture, not exactly that is going to be natural. That means we have to construct our own pond, and when we have constructed our own pond, then we have to give fishes to the for the feed to the fishes. You have to give meal to the fishes for the purpose of a feed, and that is when it is going to be required. Otherwise, in natural condition, and naturally, a lot of feed keeps on getting available, but then the number of fishes do not going to increase that much. The sixth is the shortage of quality and healthy fish sheets and other critical inputs. And the seventh is that is freshwater aquaculture is not only compatible with any of the farming system. That is, it's not going to be compatible with crop-based, livestock-based system, and this is something that has not been developed. Had it been that it had been properly developed, then the domestic waste, the organic waste, the domestic sewage, all of it would have been in a better manner recycled. They would have been processed, and that would have also helped a good amount of pisciculture development as well. But that goes on to talk about the lack of thinking investment that has taken place in the pisciculture industry. And the people who are made to think in this space, of course, the bureaucracy we are going to be talking about. This is the basic problem with the bureaucracy in this case, in most of the cases also. That is, at least in this case, we are very specific. They do not invest thinking. They are not going to think about improving a system. And of course, this is going to be a major issue because they are the one who are going to be the head of it. Now, this is one part that you don't have to write. But then you have to understand that part. You will also be the same when you are going to join the services. The eighth has been lack of resources, specific fishing vessels and reliable resources and updated data, and without which you cannot go to make a policy. Ninth had been the lack of awareness about the nutritional economic benefits of the fishes. For example, in some cases, fishes may be considered to be a non-vegetarian diet. Now, white meat, whether it is going to be a vegetarian feed or whether it is going to be non-vegetarian feed, that is subject to a variety of type of questions. In some parts of the country, for example, Mithilanchal, that's part of a vegetarian diet. It's essentially part of it. And that's how exactly it is going to be seen also. So we're going to be talking about some degree of an awareness. Awareness as a major limitation, awareness limitation about the nutritional benefits of the fishes. And of course, you're going to find that is the concept of Brahmin in West Bengal. All those people who can go into Mukherjee, Banerjee, Mukhopadhyay, Bandyopadhyay, and so on, they are all going to be fish eaters. Still, they are Brahmin. So there is not going to be too much amount of an awareness generation with respect to that. And the culture and the cross-cultural comparison into what constitutes a very good economic benefit for the fishes may not be existing. Then there is inadequate extension staff for fisheries and training for fisheries personnel also, who do not going to know too much about fisheries also. This is largely because as you can keep on finding it, there is the government gives an advertisement that they want to pick up these people, but they hardly going to pick up people who are qualified for this type of a job. Now, maybe that the country goes on to say that there is unemployment. The government goes on to say that there is hardly any person who is competent enough to be picked up for the services. And who is going to be correct? It's a moot point. You know it better than than any other person in general. The 11th is the absence of a standardization and branding of the fish products. That's largely because maybe some of these startups can go on to pick up this issue. Some of them have started picking up milk production. Some of them can go on to pick up fish production as well. And there have been one or two that have picked up. That means the fish that is marketed by this and this agency is very good. That is what we're going to be talking about, branding. So, what can be the strategy for pisciculture development? One is technology transfer and linkage development. Strong linkages between research organizations and development agencies are essential because it is in this manner that all of the fruits of research that is taking place in the laboratory will be transferred to the field. That's one. and also to obtain some degree of feedback on the prevalent problems and technology adoption levels in this case. Second has been infrastructure for quality seed and feed. When we're going to be talking about the infrastructure, that is seed and feed being two key inputs in aquaculture, appropriate policy measures need to be taken to provide infrastructure for production of quality fish and shellfish seed across the whole of the country, and to encourage private entrepreneurship in this sector. Now, this infrastructure will going to include how exactly that you can go to construct a pond, how exactly that you can go to manage it, what exactly will be the feed, whether the feed will be available in this place or not. Third has been the ownership of the water bodies. As most water bodies comprise ponds, tanks and small reservoirs or public waters, fishing and aquaculture rights need to be properly delegated to aquaculturists with leasing policies allowing reasonable durations of the ownership. To an extent, this has happened, Fish Farmers Development Association and so on. But this will development on this court will go on to help the entrepreneurs to invest and develop the water bodies on a long-term basis, taking into account long-term fish culture practices in this space. Other has been mobile laboratories. With aquaculture management increasingly becoming very, very scientific and farms located in far-flung areas, the concept of mobile laboratories for soil and water testing, fertilizer recommendation, the checking of the health of the fishes, and a lot of advisory services for the purpose of pond management requires to be put in practice. Now, mobile fish disease diagnostic laboratories are significant because these vehicles or these units will keep on moving from one pond to another pond, keep on testing the waters, keep on testing the fishes, and accordingly will keep giving suggestions with respect to the proper health, because after all this concerns something with the public health. The other has been eco-friendly aquaculture. Now, with pollution control and environmental management being of great concern, it is necessary that farming practices incorporate them in management. Now, this aspect needs to be exploited to develop a resource recovery-based waste treatment measures, in the sense that is some of the resources that we're going to consider waste that goes and that is going to be recovered back, so that the overall cost involved in this case goes on to become easy. We are talking about that is some of these resources that find their way into the water bodies. They may be they may be containing some amount of chemicals, and the chemicals can be separated out, and the rest of the nutrients can be recovered back. The other has been aquaculture financing. Freshwater aquaculture technologies provide a wide array of cultural systems. Financing needs to be considering wide possible varieties, inputs, and scales of investment. Now, with respect to, you can think that is marine fisheries, some amount of financing has been done with trawlers. Each trawler goes on to cost no less than 10 to 15 to 20 crores of rupees, maybe even more than that as well, 20-30 crores of rupees. And that is going to be financed. Now, such type of a freshwater aquaculture technology requires financing so that the farmers going to feel safe and that they can go to take it forward. Another has been data management. Information based for fisheries sector has been found to be weak in comparison to that of agriculture, that is the crop system. So it is necessary to develop databases so that we're going to get the type of fishes, the number of ponds, the number of people involved in the ponds, the amount of fertilization that has been used, the amount of seeds that is going to be available, the amount of investment that has been made in this case. Human resource development is going to be a major plank. Trained manpower at different levels of management and application has become a necessity in the wake of increasing this entrepreneurial interest in freshwater aquaculture. And it is that's the problem that goes into exist in the country. That is, it's the human resource that is letting the whole of the country down right now. That is, they do not going to possess enough amount of skill, and we don't going to be blaming those people. We are talking about that is either they may not have been properly trained, or the training may not have been available. All in all, that is what it means. Insurance coverage is going to be another part of it as a pisciculture development. That is, aquaculture is becoming commercial, and it is necessary to provide due insurance coverage to operations that involve several risks, including calamities, disease, the failure of the crops, and so on. Public education and awareness with respect to practices and potential will facilitate adoption of such type of aquaculture practices in greater amount. So people require to be taught. When you're going to be talking about skills, this is going to be one of those type of skills that is required in agricultural areas. Then other is going to be modern biotechnology. That is insertion of modern biotechnology. Now, modern biotechnologies open new avenues towards improvement of fish production and aquatic animal health management. Several genetic and non-genetic manipulations are being attempted to enhance fish production levels. This genetic improvement goes on to be taking place through hybridization, ploid induction, selection of direct approaches to transgenesis or genetic engineering. Other than that, hormonal approaches have also been employed to enhance the growth, controlled maturation of the fishes, induced breeding and multiple breeding as well, sex reversal of these fishes and sterilization. That have also been talking about gamete cryopreservation, that means freezing it in a condition, use of probiotics, biofertilization, bioprocessing, immunodiagnosis, and some of these aspects like that is monosex gynogenesis of the polypoids. All of these areas are new forms of it, and these are the new thrust areas of research and development that must be taking place for freshwater aquaculture, and that is the way that pisciculture can be developed in the country.